Greetings and welcome, guys, gals, and non-binary pals, to episode 390 of the Words About Games podcast, the weekly gaming podcast for words about games. I am your host, Amy K. Alexander, and I'm joined this week. I don't even know how to describe what's happening to my left. Mr. Daffy Moody.
Howdy doodly do. It's Friday. You know what that means. It's video game day. Video game day. Yeah, I'm making up words now. Get over it. Howdy doodly do. I hope everyone is well.
There we go.
And we're also joined by Mr. Fitz Patel.
What's good, gamers? What's good, everybody?
The awkward silence. I hope everybody's well.
That's it. Amy, bravo for continuing with the rigmarole while Moody was doing whatever he was doing.
Moody can do anything.
Moody do Moody things
in that video box, and he can't put me off at this point. I am used to all of his shenanigans, everything that he tries to do. When he put the fucking Mass Effect helmet on, I continued with the rigmarole at one time.
You did. Respect.
The only time I ever can't continue with the intro is if I make myself laugh, because as I've discussed on this podcast with Moody, nobody makes me laugh more than me.
Your own harshest critic and your biggest fan.
I'm definitely my own harshest critic.
There you go.
Tell you that much. I've been making a video for the last 7 months.
Yeah.
I'm definitely my own harshest critic. How's everybody doing?
It's been okay. It's been a week. There's been mass panic, mass hysteria, and then
cats and dogs living together.
That's it. But yeah, I mean, if only people had put that kind of effort into stuff that actually mattered, the world would be a better place. That's all I'm saying.
If only more.
I know, it's really freaky. Like, the whole thing has been crazy. We're in a recession. Tory's going more crazy, and the internet went even more crazier. I don't know. It's very tied. I don't know if they're more crazier last week or this week after the podcast thingy that everyone was reacting to. I was just like, it was probably the most reacted podcast ever of all time.
Like, it's talking. It's like if somebody was reacting to this podcast right now, and then they started reacting to something that Moody said, but then they missed the next 3 things that get said. I didn't get that. I typed in Xbox into in my YouTube search bar, to find the podcast, and I was like, what in the fuck? What? It's a podcast. Oops.
At least it was pre-recorded, and it wasn't like doing as a YouTube premiere or something like that. So people could pause it if they wanted to, but the ones that I watched, they chose not to. They just premiere. Yeah, but then most people chose not to actually pause the podcast. They'll just talk over what Phil, Sarah, and and Matt Booty were talking about.
Which would have been, for me personally, incredibly annoying.
Yeah.
But yeah, no.
But hey, we're close to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth coming out, so woohoo!
We are closer to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Oh, indeed, yeah. It's gonna be interesting. 3 of us are gonna be playing it. I know I ain't gonna finish it in time.
Oh no, there's no finishing it. I think to do a completionist run.
I'm
it's
curious who's gonna
hours.
finish it first between you two.
Me, definitely me.
My
skeptical look wasn't it. 3 of us will be. 3 of us will finish it. My skeptical look is 3 of us will be playing it. I've heard that.
Yeah, we'll start it. That's for sure.
I said I was gonna play it.
How's Baldur's Gate 3? Moody.
I'm going to buy it.
Hey, to be fair, we've got a plan for that, haven't we?
We have a plan for that. It's fine. It's funny because Moody just before the don't
worry about it, Moody. Don't worry about it.
Just before you hit record, Moody jokingly called me manipulative, and I'm just suddenly remembering our conversation about Yakuza Like a Dragon a couple of days ago in the group chat.
Yep.
My bitch was like, "Oh, I might play this other game instead," and I was like, "Nope."
It was like me last week talking about Dino Crisis. No, Fitz, No. There's a game out there called Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth that we are reviewing today.
We are reviewing that today. It's going to be a lot of fun. I've had a whole week to think about it.
But yeah, Sidebar Island of Insight looks really cool.
I've had a whole week not to finish it.
That was the puzzle game, that Island of Insight.
Oh yeah, no, it did look really cool.
Yeah.
Like once I was like being serious, I was like, yeah.
Of course, yeah.
No one picked up my pun though. The game was called Islands of Insight, and I said, like, in all seriousness, like, if you do play that game, I can't wait to hear your insights on the podcast. And everybody just skated right by, and I thought that was a pretty good one.
Puns go right on.
That's on me. I'm sorry.
I also probably wasn't paying attention.
It was a strange
It's
week.
curious how I'm a QA tester. That's one of the main definitive things that you need to have is attention.
Yeah, you put attention to detail.
I have attention to something, and that happens detail.
The D doesn't stand for detail.
I have attention, but it's closely followed the word disorder.
Attention disorder, yeah. Oh, God.
How's everyone's week been, though?
Yeah, it's been okay. Yeah, it's been slightly warmer this week here in the UK.
Like it.
Do you need the cold or
Sign of the things to come.
Okay.
I don't like warm. I don't like hot.
Yeah,
Warm's fine. Like heat, nah, get out of here.
Yeah, last year wasn't good when it was me and Amy in this room where I'm recording from, and it was just like after we finished each episode, it was just like, open this goddamn window because everyone was out. Obviously, I live up a pub, and so if I open the window, all you're gonna hear is people outside drinking, having a joyful time, and so we're just like,
fetch the ice,
get the ice.
No, it's been a lot of life admin this week on the phone to insurance companies, asking them if they thought it was reasonable that a premium would go up 65% for no apparent reason, and they didn't give good enough answer. So we have a new insurance company now. So yay for ringing people up and calling them out on their bullshit.
Man, every time someone asks me like, "Oh, how come you don't want to learn to drive?" I just tell one of the many stories like that from people who do drive. Just, I'm good. That's fine. The bus is fine.
There you go. He doesn't ask me for insurance. He doesn't ask me for fuel money. He doesn't ask me for road tax.
If it breaks
I'm
down,
gonna pay no congestion charge.
Pay for it.
Yeah.
Like, if it breaks down, I just get off and get on to the next one. Like,
I just continue.
Yeah. I mean, buses suck. Like, don't get me wrong. But cheap in a cheap way.
If your main concern is about, oh no, who am I going to have to sit next to on the bus? Then okay, it's not the worst thing.
No one ever wants to sit next to me on the bus.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
but I don't care. So, like, I prefer it that way. So, like, I'm fine with it. I don't know what my aura is that I give off, but whatever it is, I hope I keep doing it for the rest of my life. Maybe you can hear the music coming out of my headphones. Whew. I finished my video.
Yeah, you did.
Like, I actually properly, legitimately, like, finished it. Like, it's all edited and it's on YouTube right now, but it's not live.
Not released.
It's not
Haven't
released.
released the beast. Yeah.
We saw a full rough cut of it, and was like,
it's going through final certification. We'll put it that way.
I just gotta figure out when to drop it. You know, like, when's the best time to drop a video about the history of game crediting? A sexy topic.
Yeah, the easiest thing to come up with a thumbnail for.
Yeah, that's why I asked for
throw a
help.
grenade into the gaming waters. See what happens.
If people can somehow get mad about that,
I
like,
got mad at you reviewing Stadia.
Can't get mad at me for reviewing Stadia. That did happen.
Like, people got mad at you for liking Mass Effect Andromeda.
They get mad at me for liking Mass Effect Andromeda.
got mad at you for giving Assassin's Creed
Origins.
Odyssey a 7.
Oh yeah, no, it was Origins.
Origins.
Yeah, it was Origins.
Wasn't it?
I also gave Odyssey a
Valhalla?
7, but no one got
Odyssey,
mad at me for that.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. People have been mad at me a lot in my life.
Yeah. I haven't. I'll
Point-
say that. I've never been
Point
mad at
taken.
you.
Bullshit.
About your opinions on video games, I don't give a fuck.
Oh, okay.
But like, you do you.
My crediting video is not an opinion. It is a series of well-researched facts. Maybe too well-researched.
Irrefutable facts at that. Yeah.
Oh, I love the fact what you in it. I won't spoil it, but like you get something done in your video. Which is
You
really,
get something
really
done in
good,
my
so.
video.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was an experience. Well, I'll talk more about it on a podcast after I release it, because holy fucking shit, I got something done in that video. Yeah, no, fuck. It's a weird feeling. It's like I sat down at my computer yesterday thinking, okay, what do I need to work on? And I opened the timeline and stuff, and then I sat there for 30 seconds, and then I went, oh yeah, it's done. What do I do now?
Shout out to past Amy.
Now what? Let me go in the left and see how many old game consoles that are salvageable. And that's what I did.
Yeah.
Wow, they don't look good on a 40-inch LCD high definition TV. Good God.
Are you having to do like composite to HDMI type things and
Yeah,
stuff like that? Or?
I bought an
Right.
adapter. Like, was it the red, green, yellow? No, red, white, and yellow.
Okay, yeah. So then
HDMI.
the coaxial, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, it's a PS2 and a Wii.
Yeah. Although I remember the PS2, I managed to get some composite cables for it. So it had the red, blue, green all split out, and then it had the two audio
Nice.
lines.
I need to watch a YouTube video on how to like open up the PS2, because it definitely needs like cleaning.
Cleaning?
Yeah, 100%. You can look at the fan, like you know how the vent on the front.
Yeah.
I'm looking at that going, holy shit! And I got a Q-tip, and I thought maybe I can just like poke in the dirt. It was so like encrusted. It wasn't moving, and I was like, I need to open this thing up and really clean it.
Maybe you should invest in one of these compressed air. Well, it's not compressed, but it's just like a blower type situation. There you go.
Yeah, I've got Amy has. I need to clean my PC and I need to digital start. I might do that tomorrow.
PS2 is more than 2 decades old. I'm scared if I blow air through it at too fast a velocity, that it's just going to crumple.
Yeah.
She wants to play games on it,
I do
so she
wanna
can bring
play
it down
games
here
on
for me to play Dino Crisis.
I'm scared about it. I would be terrified of that making the trip. Like it would be in my backpack. I wouldn't put it in the big bag that goes in the coach underneath the thing. It would be like I'd be like that, holding it all the way down.
Yeah, but then you'll just us, and everyone will be like, "What's she got there?"
It's a bomb. No, it's not a bomb. It's just a PlayStation 2.
I cleaned it, so it's okay.
I cleaned it. It's
you go.
fine. I'm just gonna play Dino Crisis.
Decontaminated it.
I don't have Dino Crisis. Like I found the big folder, the CD folder full of all the games. Dino Crisis wasn't in there, so I don't know where that went.
A shout out to you finding
fucking
your Gran
random-
Turismo disc.
Some fucking random ass games in there. I've got Metal Gear Solid
Yes, you do.
on
Never
PS1.
played it, did you?
Yeah,
Did you?
I've got Metal Gear Solid. I've still got Bushido Blade. I've got all the Resident Evils.
Of course you do.
I've got Code Veronica. I've got Outbreak. I've got
Oh,
fucking-
Outbreak! I remember Outbreak. I got Outbreak. I enjoyed it when I was a kid. 'Cause I was a stupid kid.
Yeah. I've got like Air Combat. I've got Ridge Racer Revolution. I've got like
Okay, let's say it properly. Put some respect on the name. You've got Ridge Racer.
Oh, you have to go reach.
Ridge
Racer.
I've got GameCube games. I've basically got the like quintessential GameCube collection. I've got Metroid Prime.
Does your
Fucking Smash Brothers, Mario Kart.
Basically, Amy's just sitting on a fortune. She's not sold it on eBay yet.
Right, I'm gonna play it. I've only got 1 week. Despite the fact that it was a Wii that I dug out, I've only got 1 week game, and it's Wii Fit Plus.
So I imagine like the binder, it's all like CD shaped, and then all the sleeves and whatnot. Do your GameCube's discs not just flail around in there then?
No, because I know that they're in there, and I'm very, very careful with it.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they would.
Friends who didn't necessarily have a GameCube, the discs were tiny.
Yeah, I mean, go and get one.
They were little dinky
I'll
discs.
get them.
Yeah.
Yeah. What the Nintendo thought they were the future, weren't they? They're thinking they're going to get rid of CDs because they're that big. So we're going to get ahead of the curve. And we're going to go for the small ones.
Like,
it did not work out.
Never mind people out there not having seen a GameCube disc before. They might not have seen one of these before.
This is a folder.
Yeah.
This is where the games live.
This is like when you hold up a 3.5-inch floppy disk and it's like, how did you 3D print the save icon? How did
Moody's favorite game franchise.
Oh wow!
Hey, hello.
Yeah.
All it needed was a run mechanic, and it would have been great.
I've got one PS3 game, and I've never owned a PS3, so I don't know why I have a copy of Heavy Rain, but I have a copy of
all the games to have. The origami killer.
Not only have I never owned a PS3, but I don't like Heavy Rain. So I don't know where I got that from.
Jason.
But yeah, check it. A GameCube disc.
Oh, little cutie.
Metroid Prime as well. What a fucking game!
Oh, that's a brilliant, yeah.
Who needs a remaster on the Switch? I own it.
There you go.
I just don't have a GameCube.
That's funny, though. You don't have a GameCube, but you almost bought a Dreamcast.
Yeah.
Hey, sometimes you don't look gift horses in the mouth.
Yeah. Hey, Moody. He's a blast from the past.
Oh, smeg.
For audio listeners, Amy's holding up a copy of Formula 1 97.
Like, I got tons of stuff in here. Like, it goes on.
Famously, the year where Michael Schumacher was excluded from the championship after he tried to off Jack Villeneuve in Jerez in the final round. Ooh, Shadow of the Colossus. Yes.
Oh, old one.
But
Classic.
2006.
the one I really wanna dig into is this.
Be hockey in it.
No, it's a demo disc
Ooh.
from issue 63 of a magazine.
With
You
OBS.
don't know
say
what's
which
on it, do
magazine.
you?
I don't know what's
don't
on
know
this.
Only one way to find out, right?
Could be Dino Crisis 3.
It could be a demo for any game, anything on here for PlayStation. What if this is the demo disc from my story about Resident Evil 2?
I wanted to ask you because what do you think of the cards, of F1 cards that were revealed? Have you seen?
I mean, it's a whole lot of smoke and mirrors. Some of the liveries are god awful, and some of them are better than others. But we'll see what happens. I think everybody's holding their cards to the chest until we go testing in Bahrain next week, and then we'll be ready for the Grand Prix in early March. So looking forward to it. Obviously, the news of Lewis Hamilton going to Ferrari next year is kind of a bombshell, but it all just smacks of misdirection. So obviously, everyone was angry at F1 for rejecting Andretti's offer to come in at 2026. And they thought, oh, we need a news story here to dangle a red rag to distract everybody. So I was like, right, let's leak the Lewis Hamilton news, because none of the teams are ready to leak that news. So yeah, it's all politics
Everyone's
things.
still talking about that, but Red Bull is our biggest winners. So it's the 20th year now that starts talking about Christian Horner. What's Christian Horner done?
Yeah, so allegedly, I say allegedly, so we don't know all the facts. As we understand it, some Dutch publications today have released some details that he was sending sexually charged WhatsApp messages to his assistant. The employee in question has been on sick leave ever since, but is going through the full legal process and trying to get it taken to UK court. But yeah, he was at the launch yesterday for the
couldn't believe that.
RB20 and saying, he denies all the allegations, all the rest of it. But yeah, hopefully justice will be served, and if they're found to been doing terrible things, then they'll get the proper punishment.
That's how it works, right?
Yeah,
it's how the force works, definitely. But no, I love the Mercedes. I'll say that. I love the combination of black and silver. I really liked it. Yeah, I really liked it.
It was so awkward, Lewis being there for the launch.
Yeah. Let's just get it out of the way. So, Lewis, you're leaving us next year. Yeah, man, I gotta go where my heart is.
And then Toto turns to George like, "You're my favorite son now."
Yeah, that's what's going to happen unless this Mercedes is incredible and Lewis is just dominating. Please, for God's sakes, please have some sort of fight this year.
People seem to forget that Max Verstappen is a thing. He almost went like 24 for 24 last season.
I know.
But yeah.
If they've got half a car what they had last year, it could be 24 again.
Well, this is it. It looks like a bold design of what they're doing, and we'll see again what the smoke and mirrors of what car actually rolls out in Bahrain for testing. So
and even then, we won't really know until the first race, and even then, we probably won't really fully know. So, because McLaren started really badly last year,
they sure did. But I hope for obviously Lando and Oscar's sake that they hit the ground running this time around and not end up with a pair of P17s to start off the year with, because that'll be really bad.
It is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? More interesting is a little bit.
Yep.
Like a dragon. Infinite wealth.
So I hear. Yeah. And friends, I almost debated myself to getting the wrong Like a Dragon over this week.
It's true.
There were so many games called Like a Dragon.
They changed the name of the franchise. Well, they didn't change it.
They sure.
It was always called that in
back
Japan. They changed it in the West, and it caused kerfuffle because they called the last game like Yakuza Like a Dragon. So it was like, oh.
Yeah, but then there's Like a Dragon Ishin and Like a Dragon the man narrates his name. And I was asking Amy, okay, which one of these games do I actually need? And it's like, none of them.
Neither.
Okay.
I got you. I got you. But we're not here to talk about any of those three games. We're here to talk about Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth that came out like 3 weeks ago at this point, I think it was.
January.
Just to kick things off, can you run through how long each of you played this game for, what your runtime was at the end of the day, and then we can kick off into some initial thoughts.
According to
I have not finished it yet. I just want to state that.
According to my PS5 clock, 82 hours. But I imagine some of that was like AFK time.
Yeah.
Right now on my clock it says 41 hours in on it.
Fair enough.
And I think
so you get your money's worth then. If hours to dollars is your conversion that you're making your head.
Right, hours to dollars, forget hours to dollars. Entertainment to dollars.
There you go.
You get your money's worth.
Yeah, it's pure
in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah, I would give so. It starts with a serious thing at the beginning, which we won't spoil. But
no spoilers.
But as soon as you get to Ichiban, which is pretty fast, it's just like full bonkers. And and it just the opening's like basically catches you back up of Ichiban, of like who he is and who he is as a character.
It's been like 3.5 years since the previous game, and this is what Ichiban's and all the dorks that he was hanging around with are up to, and then circumstances transpire, and you're off on another adventure, and he ends up in Hawaii.
And as I understand from the reveal trailer, he's naked up in Hawaii.
He does end up naked. At one point.
He does.
There you go. There's something for everyone in this game.
Full on naked.
Not even like a top. That moment is funny, but it's not even for me. It's not even in like the top 10 of the funniest things that happen in this game.
It's like smart marketing from them, because that's just like crazy. Just gets you straight into it straight away, because like that's basically the trailer we saw when it was revealed last year. Them showing him naked in Hawaii, and I think
naked and he's in America. Like those were the two things. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really well done, and yeah, it's I haven't finished it yet, but I think I'm on the same wavelength of Amy of that this is just a goddamn awesome video game.
It is.
Yeah.
Like if we're doing our opinions,
Yeah,
I
go
would
for it.
like to start with the combat. Because if you'll cast your minds back to our Fantasy Critic draft when this game came up, and we were talking about, how could it how could its score improve from the previous one? And I said, all you need to improve is the combat from the last game, because the previous game's combat was okay for like their first attempt at a turn-based combat, like RPG combat system. But if they've focused down in the past 3-4 years and improved that combat, they're on to a banger. And they focused down and improved on that combat, like
Hell yes.
big style. So it's a turn-based game, sort of like it's like if you imagine like the third-person brawler, but like instead of like it's just it's zoomed out like that. It's not like everybody's standing in a line like a Persona or whatever.
Yeah.
But they kept in the job system, which I'll talk about later. And they kept the elemental weaknesses. So like enemies will be weak to electricity, fire, water, slashing, bludgeoning, and gun, which is an element in this game. And
hell yes.
and they kept that stuff in, which worked really well. But what they've done is in the previous game, it's going to be really weird because I want to refer to the previous game as Like a Dragon because that was its subtitle. This game is called Like a Dragon. But in
the previous game is Yakuza Like a Dragon.
Yakuza Like a Dragon. In the previous game, you were kind of like static. So when it was one of your character's turns, they didn't move like at all. You just stood there until you did the thing, like whatever input you did. Whereas in this one, you get a limited range of movement. So you can like move them around freely.
Yeah.
And positioning becomes really, really important in the game.
Yeah.
It does. And that just unlocks just one of the most an incredibly satisfying combat system, because you can hit an enemy and knock them back into a wall for extra damage, or you can hit them into their other friends to damage all of them, or you can hit them into one of your party members and to get a follow-up attack. So like you'll hit them, they'll do damage, and they'll go in slow motion, and then like bam, you'll get another attack, and then they'll go flying off and maybe hit all of their friends from that angle. It's like playing snooker. You can move to stand next to one of your other party members to do a combo attack, and then knock them about and maybe ball them through their enemies or into a combo or into a wall. And like 82 hours, and it was never boring to do a fight.
Hell yes.
Whereas I feel like in the previous game, which you only played for about 50, and finished.
Yeah.
But like
on Christmas
Day. But like I feel like I finished it and then I watched the Doctor Who Christmas special. It was a great Christmas. But I feel like the combat got a bit stale after a certain amount of time. Whereas this, just from that one change, and then all of the change, all of like the dominoes that one change knocked over, just made this combat feel great. It always felt fucking fantastic to just kick some guy across the arena, to have another one of my party members fucking smash him in slow motion, and then just to watch him careen off and go into his friends and damage all of them. Like that always felt good.
Yeah, the combat system is very special, especially like if you get a well-balanced team, which basically you do pretty fast, which is really, really good. You can really get through it. You can really have some fun banter with the characters in it and everything. It's just, it is really, really well done. It's like, it's smooth. It's like, it's the smallest of changes, but that small change makes a big difference. That just opens, like what Amy says, the combat to a whole new level of just awesomeness. And it's just like,
So do you get do you get a same or an increased amount of variety when it comes to weapons? So of the few clips of Yakuza that I've seen in the past kind of thing, you'll have a section where, your baseball bat is no match for my bicycle, and this man is hurling a bicycle in this man's face, and he gets knocked out. Is there that kind of zaniness when it comes to like improvised weapons and things like that?
Yeah, so one of the things you can do is, and this was from the older brawler games is like you could always like push it was like called a heat action, I think. It's in Judgment as well. Like, and if you're standing next to a bicycle, you push the button and it does the bicycle attack.
Yeah.
Because you can move now in this game. They're environmental objects like bicycles.
Oh, awesome. Okay, yeah.
So you can walk up to that and use that as your weapon instead, like if you really want to. But as far as like weapons go, it's tied to the job system. So like Ichiban starts out as the hero class. So the hero class's weapon is a baseball bat, but you'll have like the action star job, for example, is nunchucks. And it's about like a Final Fantasy VII upgrade style where it's like all of the weapons are nunchucks, but like you can keep finding or buying like better ones. Upgrading them, yeah.
Awesome.
And the jobs are really cool as well. Like you can...
Yeah, the jobs are very unique. Yeah, you can really go for some crazy combinations for your characters and everything for it. Yeah, it's really, really cunning.
Yeah, especially with skill inheritance as well, because like you can level up a job for a character to like job level or whatever, and you unlock a bunch of abilities, like skills and abilities and stuff, and then switch them to another job, but they'll have a certain number of skill inheritance slots, so you can take skills from that job and keep them, and then combine them with like the skills from the next job.
So you can like have a white and black mage if you're going off that type of terminology, you know what I mean?
Well, that's what it's based on, right? And it's based on like Dragon Quest games.
Yeah. So yeah, it's the thing that I've shouted out for this thing for like a Dragon Infinite Wealth is that kept me pushing and going for playing the game and everything, even though I've slowed off a little bit more just because of my own thing in my life. Is the characters. The characters are so well written. The story, so far to what I can tell, is so well written. The characters are so well flushed out. I can understand if people may not get on well with these type of games. It is very anime. It's a full-on bonkers anime story that where you may think, okay, what a lot of cogs are going off all at the same time here, but it all lands pretty well to what I've seen. Amy, you'll be able to know more than me, obviously, because
no, it does. It lands. It lands. It definitely lands.
Yeah. There's a character in this game. I've only played like the last Like a Dragon game with the first one with Ichiban and Lost Judgment 2. There's only the studio's games I've played of them. So there's a character, and apart from Ishin last year, Ishin was one of the first ones I played last year. But there's a character in this one who's like been a mainstay throughout for all the games pretty much, and he has a story arc in here that I don't know much about him whatsoever, but somehow I am feeling emotional for his story arc. And I don't know anything about him. I don't have the richness of what everyone else would have who's played every single Yakuza game with that character. And it's just, I'm still getting emotional. So I can only imagine what those gamers who know everything are going through with this character. And it's really well done. So it's like they've done a really good job with the story on this game.
It was in the trailers. So he was in this game. Because it's a dual protagonist system. So for the first 7 chapters or so, like Ichiban is the protagonist, and then some shit goes down. It's incredibly intense and one of my favorite moments in the game. And then they separate. So Kiryu, the protagonist from the previous Yakuza games,
this was a fellow in the grey suit, red shirt.
Yes, he has his own storyline. And you kind of flip back and forth between the two parties for the rest of the game. And I was really digging the first 7 chapters, and then when they did the split, I was like, I don't know about this one, Chief.
I was as well. And I admit that.
I was like, I don't know about this. And then
so the same thing about The Last of Us Part 2.
It was fine. It was
fine. You know what? That's actually a really good analogy. It is actually a good analogy, that. It really is, because you're doing this one thing that you've done for so many hours, and you're thinking, okay, we're ready, let's go. Time to probably not finish, but you didn't realize now we're throwing this whole new separate story in, which is going to enhance the experience even more. So they've done it works really well.
Talk to me about how the story is delivered and if it's different from how it's done previously. So as I understand it, it's quite text heavy in terms of how previous games shook out, and this might be the same case kind of thing, where the player is asked to read, paragraph from paragraph. There is some cutscenes which are voice acted, and I understand all the VO is done in Japanese, and that might be the case, or I might have that wrong, kind of thing. But how was that delivered, and is that something that resonated with yourselves?
It's a very cutscene happy game.
Okay,
for sure. Yeah. When you're in the main story, like it harkens back to like classic games, where it's like you'll do a bunch of like gameplay, and then you might hit like 5 or 10 minutes of cutscene, and before you're back in control again.
Sure.
Ultimately, when it comes to it, is a very text heavy as well, but that's more on if you do the side quests. If you concentrate on a lot of the side quests, yeah, it's going to be very text heavy. And I'm massively against like text heavy things. I always have been. Like it's just I lose interest in the games for me, so it's very hard for me to keep going into the game and everything. But thankfully, they balance it out with where it is text heavy, but when it comes to the parts where it's like we need to hit a certain point here for emotion wise, it's voice acted. You hear it in everything, and it's so well done. Amy knows what I'm talking about. And everything, and
simultaneously the most absurd and emotional thing in the game at the same
bonkers,
time.
But it's you're laughing and crying basically at the same time, and it's really well done. And so when they want to really hit home certain feelings or elements or themes for the stories of the side stories, you go full voice acted and everything for it, and it's really well done.
Brilliant.
So for me, it's like so you can like probably get past this text heavy part by just not doing the side quests, but I would implore you to do the side quests, not just for help leveling your character up, but just for enriching the story even more. So
and it's a nice I want to get back to the main stuff in a bit, but doing all like of the different side stories, not the full on like fucking other games that are in it, just like the sub stories.
The game within the game, yeah.
It's like 10 games within this thing.
There's such a variety of like tones and moods and like different things to do. Like you don't feel like you're doing like the same thing 40 times. As someone who unlocked the trophy for more than 40 sub stories, like you don't feel you've done the same thing 40 times. And it's like it's side content that feels like it might people put thought into it, or like it's side content that feels like it matters. And you can say that about a lot of the side content as well. But coming back to sort of like the main stuff, like when the game knows when something's gonna hit like a specific type of emotion, like whether it's going to be emotional, whether it needs to be epic, whether it needs to be awesome, whether it needs to be scary, like like whether it needs to be tense, and it always manages to nail every single thing that it's trying to do throughout the story. And the voice acting is phenomenal. The English, I played it in English. Yeah, across the board.
Great stuff. Talk to me about some of these side games then. So what I understand of the Yakuza games of old is you're this Yakuza and you're doing gangster stuff, but 20 minutes later you might end up in a karaoke bar, or take your mind off all the murder that you've done with a nice game of mahjong and stuff like that. So talk to me about those.
Go on, man, you can go for it.
Basically that's all still in there for you to be able to do if you want to do that. Again, it's optional. I've never done it. I never did any of it really. But there's two new story elements or mechanic elements that they've added to this, and they're literally pulled from Pokemon and what's the other one? Animal Crossing, basically, and these are they did obviously a massive 30-minute reveal of at least one of them, which is where you will end up on another island from Hawaii, where you can basically to make it up into your own tourist area where you can help basically just make it into your own place where you can get make your farm place to get all these items you need
resort,
money
basically.
And everything. Yeah, you can turn it into a resort. It's not for me. I started it because you have to get through certain parts before you can get back to Hawaii and back to the main story. It's not for me personally. Anyone who loves it, fair play to you, and I'm all go for it. And it's the same goes for the Pokemon thing. It's basically you're catching. You're
Catching 'em all.
capturing humans.
Yeah.
Question. You're
Recruiting a team.
You're recruiting a team by basically giving them a gift to say, "Yo, come play," type of thing.
Come fight for me in this
fight for me, yeah.
Sujimon League.
Fuzimon Pokemon League, and yeah, it's not for me.
As our resident Pokemon expert.
It feels like, as someone who didn't really touch either of those two, which is like they're the big beefy side things. It feels like if I wanted to engage with either one of them, like I would have a good time. But where I was at and like what I was trying to accomplish playing the game, I was just like, like it was fun to do the side quest that led to unlocking the feature, which isn't actually, it's classed as a side quest, but you have to do it to like progress the main quest. But like
this is every AAA game at the moment in terms of we've got Fort Condor in like Final Fantasy VII Intermission, and now it's going to be a regular thing in the main game, and you're going to have to play one game of it.
Yeah, like you have to play one game of it. I was like, it's fun enough where it's like if I wanted to engage with it, I feel like I would have a good time with it. And it was the same with the Animal Crossing thing. Like I engaged with a ton of side stuff in this game. Like there's so many different layers of side content in the game. Like you've got those two things. You've got the dungeons, which there's two main locations in the game, so you've got two different dungeons that you can run through. There's all of the mini games that still have been in the series this entire time since it was in. Like you can go to the batting cages and play a baseball mini game. There's a golf mini game. You can go to the arcades and play old Sega games,
classic Sega games like Super Hang-On and stuff like that. Absolutely, let's go.
They're all in the game. And there's also like there's open world activities where it's like there's an app where you just walk around saying aloha to people, and it like automatically friends them and builds up this meter of friendship. Or like when you're in Yokohama, you can run around and there'll be citizens who are in trouble, and you can go and beat the shit out of the people who are like harassing them.
Just like Spider-Man.
But what's really cool about all of these systems is, and I touched on this in my funny story last week about the game, is that like all of the side stuff feeds into mechanics of the game. It's not like the wandering around finding trouble and rescuing people. Like it's not just there because we need something for the player to do because we're worried their attention will wander if they're just walking down the street. It's there because it gives you something that you can then use to do something else. Like in that specific instance, it levels up Kiryu's can't remember what it's called, the body, spirit, and soul, whatever it was called, which unlocks his life links, which is a series of side stories for Kiryu that I was very motivated to unlock.
Invested in, yeah.
I was very invested in that. So I was like, cool, like this gives me the reason to just whack on a YouTube video, run around the town, and just beat all these people up, get all of the things, unlock another life link, and experience something that I wanted to experience. And like that's for the whole. Like all the side stuff feeds back into itself, into the game in some way. And that's what's awesome about it. Like too many open world games for me personally, like just have a lot of things to just fill time.
Yes.
Like, and just waste time, and it doesn't do anything. So like, it's not fun to engage with because the running around beating people up, like just engaging in these one-off combat encounters, it's not really that fun or engaging. You know what I mean? But like because it's in service of doing something else, it's like, okay, cool, I'm motivated to do this, I want to do this, so I'm gonna go and fucking do this. And that's where the difference lies in terms of like I'll play this game and I'll fucking demolish so much of the open world content in it because I'm just like, I need to fucking level this thing up, or I need to get this upgrade material so I can build a better weapon, or I need to unlock this other job so that I can give it to this other, you know what I mean? It all there's always a reason for me to do something.
That's really good to hear because I think one of the criticisms leveled at let's say Final Fantasy 16 is that whilst there are a number of side quests, not all of them give great story beats or add anything to the characters, and the rewards are kind of so it's really good to see that these are more kind of fleshed out and more involved.
Great.
That's really cool.
The side quests themselves like are different. Like nothing I was talking about was side quests. Like the side quests
Yeah, yeah.
themselves are completely separate from this as well. And you can just do them or not, and it doesn't matter because you
Yeah.
don't get that much. You don't actually get that much reward from them.
Mhm.
But what you get is an awesome or a funny or an emotional story. Like it's like a short story.
Yeah.
That you get told across like sometimes like multiple like encounters and stuff, and they're just fucking great. Like they're worth doing on their own. It's like The Witcher 3, where it's like, you know, you're massively overleveled for a ton of the side quest stuff, but you still go and do it because you want to experience.
Got to return that frying
story.
pan.
Yeah, maybe not the frying pan one.
Here, your frying pan.
Whereas, like, yeah, in like Dragon, it was exactly the same. It was just like, oh, I want to do this. I want to fucking run into all of the little speech bubble icons because it's like, yeah, I've got to do this. Like, it's so dense with stuff to do that it's hard. Like, I keep remembering things that I haven't talked about yet, like the bond levels. So, like, you build up bond levels with all of your party members.
Okay.
By just having them in your party, like, and doing fights, and it levels up. Or by like there's bond bingo, where it's like you find spots on the map to have a short conversation with them, and then as you fill this bingo card in, like every time you get bingo, it like levels their bond up, and then those unlock drink links, which you go to a bar because the bar is like your main home base, and you have, and there's like there's like a whole side story for like each of your party members. So it's like you start grinding out your bond levels because it's like, well, I want to know what happens next. And they're just great scenes. Like you don't get shit from it. You get a lot of money from finishing them, like the final step. But like you don't get any like huge mechanical.
It's a journey rather than the destination, which is
it's like no, I want to see what's going on with Itachi. No, I want to see where this side quest leads me for Jungi Han, like all the characters. It's just like I want to spend more time with these characters. That's my reward for grinding this content out.
The true test of any game set in a real life location. How much do you want to go to Hawaii now?
Oh, I text Mooney that. He texted me after we'd had the game for just the first weekend. And he was like, oh, how you find it? And I was like, I want to go to Hawaii, like right now.
Yes. Out here looking at flights.
And like, it's not like you think like a game set in Hawaii, oh, you know, you get the glitz and the glamour and the front that's put on like a resort place. And you get that, but like the thing that both of the Yakuza games that I've played, this one and the previous one, do really well is like they touch on so much stuff. So like there's a lot of stuff in the story of the themes of things like colonization and homelessness and joblessness. And it's all really like woven into this narrative quite well. Like you don't just visit Honolulu fucking beach and hang out on the beach. It's no, you get into that seediness and the underbelly of what's here.
Awesome. That's really good to hear that there's definitely some substance rather than just glitz and glam kind of thing.
No, there's if there's one thing I've learned about, I've played, if you count the Judgment series, I've played 4 of these games at this point. There's so much substance. Like I get, like, if you watch a trailer or something for it, like, because the more fantastical or absurd elements of the games like tend to lead the marketing, because that's the kind of thing that makes people pay attention. Like you might sort of get this idea that it's style over substance, but like no, these games have so much substance to them. They're so deep, like with what they talk about.
I mean, it can be both, right? It can be 100% certified bananas and also have like a great story to tell.
Well, it's like me and Moody were talking about that one side quest, where it's both at the same time. Like it's one, it's absurd, and then it's heartfelt, and then it's absurd again, and then the ending is both cranked up to 11.
Yes. So if people out there in Listener Land are looking at Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, but they want to dip their toe in a little Yakuza first, would you advise they jump in at this game, or would you advise that they go to Yakuza Like a Dragon, which is available on Xbox Game Pass, first?
I would say go Like a Dragon.
Okay, that's many answers. Did you say Yakuza Like a Dragon?
First Ichiban game.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Yes.
For me, as someone, and even I am not like, I've played all of the Yakuza games. Like, I think there's 4 ways you can start. I think you can start with Infinite Wealth, but I think it hits a lot better if you don't. Like, I mean, the first 7 chapters of Infinite Wealth are like Ichiban with an entirely new party, from the previous game. So it is set up in a way where it's like it gets you into the story with new characters, but then like, you know, you start getting into like, oh, the old characters come back, and then it's like oh, and things hit more when it's like, I remember this. Like, a lot of the side quests in this game are direct sequels to side quests from the previous game, and you're gonna get a lot more out of them if you remember what happened the last time with the giant robot vacuum cleaner.
But there's also like story elements that happened in the first one that carry over into the second one, like just like between the main characters and everything. So it's like
and the main story is a direct sequel to the events of the previous game as well.
1,000%. It's great to hear that. So we hear like from the marketing going on by Square Enix for Rebirth of, oh, it doesn't matter if you played Remake. No, it does matter that you played Remake and you're going to get a lot more out of it kind of thing. Sure, there's going to be a recap thing, but yeah, play Remake first. So for sure. And I know we were joking about this at the start, but I will try Yakuza Like a Dragon and not Like a Dragon Nation and then be confused why we're in the 1800s.
Well, like Yakuza Like a Dragon is a great place to jump in for sure. And then you've got an entire sequel which is even bigger than that game.
And who knows, by the time we get done with Yakuza Like a Dragon, maybe Infinite Wealth will come to Game Pass as well. So
I'd be surprised if it doesn't. Yeah. If you want like the best poise experience, like to go to the first Ichiban game, then I would probably go, because there's 2 protagonists in this game in Infinite Wealth, go to the man who erased his name, because that's a very short experience, but it does kind of like give you the backstory of remind me his name again, sorry. Kiryu, yeah.
It is kind of like a bridge between the 2 games,
yeah. It's pretty much a bridge because it tells you where was he basically at certain parts, and then it's then Infinite Wealth. Those are poised. Okay, poised so the best 3 games.
Yakuza Like a Dragon, man who erased his name, then Infinite Wealth.
That would be ideal. In that order. I mean, I didn't play the man who erased his name, and still. Like,
and I only played 100%,
but to your point, you're going to get more out of it. And
I mean, if you want to get the most out of it, start from Yakuza 0 and work forwards.
Ain't nobody got time for that. We got Rebirth.
You can play like 10 fucking RPG games in 2 weeks, can't you, Fitz?
I mean, there's only one way to find out, right?
It's one a day. Piece of cake.
You'll be done by 2025, I think.
Were there any other bits that you'd like to get to that we haven't touched on yet?
Yeah, for me, I feel this is a negative. Basically, it's really shitty that the Sega are holding a New Game Plus behind a paywall.
Okay,
not cool. That's not cool whatsoever. But they're doing that basically. So if you want New Game Plus, you have to pay.
You have to buy the limited collector's edition.
Super duper. Okay, right.
Yeah. And everything like that. I think that's really scummy for them and everything like that.
Is this a title that's indicative to that? So, to Amy, to your playtime,
it's always had a lot of microtransaction stuff in it, but mostly just stuff you can ignore. But with it being like a feature of the game, it's a little.
No, 100%. I'm with you in that in terms of it's a scummy practice. But with a game that you can sink in theory like 80 plus hours in, is New Game Plus something that a lot of people are going to? I mean, it's always nice to have the option, but is that a lot of people are going to do because you've sunk so many hours into it?
I don't know. I don't play games like that.
Yeah. I get what you're saying with that, but it's the thing. The thing is, I'm probably wrong here, but I would also be very surprised if this wasn't already built into the game.
Oh yeah, it's a feature that's taken out and then locked away.
Yeah. So. If it's a thing that they've kept separate on a patch that can get uploaded into it, then that's okay. And I'm borderline, and when I'm saying okay, then because it's a feature that I think should be in the game anyway, without having to pay extra.
I mean, New Game Plus is just one of those things. It should just be in the game, like regardless.
1,000%. And I'm with you that it's shitty. And for the deluxe edition or whatever it is that gets you this, presumably that was available day one to purchase, which indicates New Game Plus is a thing that was ready to go from the off. So do better, Sega. Do better.
I think they've done that now for the last few games now. I think they did it for Ishin last year. I'm not sure if they did it for the Erase Name one that fell last fall. Not entirely 100% sure. Don't think so. I might be wrong there, but I didn't play enough of it to be able to properly look. But yeah, it's just it's a scummy little thing. That's all. Like I can appreciate, like I can understand from a certain point, like studios who have like left it out just so they can get the game out. Like there's last Spider-Man 2 doesn't have it, but they're giving you it, and it's just in an update. It's for free and everything, so which is fantastic. If they were doing something like that, then I would have no problem with it. But yeah, putting it behind the paywall, I think it's a bit scummy. When it comes to the microtransactions, they're not. Yeah, don't worry about them. They aren't forced upon you.
Yeah, just don't buy them.
They aren't like boom in your face. They don't do any of that, which I appreciate.
No, it's not like a Ubisoft game where like you log into the game. And it's like, hey, check out our microtransactions store. It's like there's one button on your smartphone, like that if you push. Like it will go, microtransactions, but other than that, it's like you wouldn't even.
You want to buy the golden map that gives you all the treasures immediately?
Nothing like
Just
that.
Pay $19.99.
That's the thing. There's nothing like that in this game. Yeah. It's literally just cosmetics. There's a couple of jobs, like a couple of extra jobs in the Master Vacation bundle or whatever. But apart from that, there's like
capsules.
Yeah, it's just like it's stuff you don't need. But to not end on a negative note.
Oh yeah, definitely not.
Because I have one last thing to say, which is that Ichiban Kasuga is the best video game protagonist of the last 10 years.
Wow.
He's banging. There's no doubt about that. I haven't finished the game, so I'm not going to put my stamp on that yet. But he's an awesome character. There's no doubt about it.
At the end of the game, he does the most Ichiban thing you could possibly think Ichiban would do.
I can believe that. I really can. Which just makes me kind of want to play this. I kind of now just say, fuck off, guys. Finish off the podcast by yourselves. I'm going to play this.
Go for it. I'm in. Like, I'll hold down the fort. Go play like a dragon. No, he is such a fucking amazing protagonist. In a sea of like AAA open world prestige RPGs that are trying to like make the characters all like nuanced and maybe they're a bit of a dick. It's like Ichiban is the purest soul, and it's just so refreshing to like control him. Like the effect he can have on other people is incredible. He's just so positive and passionate and accepting of everybody, and I mean everybody.
He's acceptable like everything. Everybody.
And this is in the trailer, so like I don't really consider it
There's
a
no
spoiler.
spoilers here.
The after you get Kiryu in your party, the first two characters that you recruit to your party are a guy who holds him up at gunpoint and tries to rob him, and the person who's responsible for dumping him on the beach naked.
Yeah,
that's just the kind of guy he is.
There you go.
And if he makes a mistake, he owns it. He doesn't hide behind it. He owns it.
And then he goes to
fix it.
He
just cracks on.
He just cracks on.
He doesn't sit around. Yeah. He whines and bitches about it, but then he's just like smacks his face and then go, boom, let's go and fix this shit. And that's how it is. Yeah. He's just a really well done, brilliantly written character, which is also helped by awesome supporting characters.
Yeah, all of the characters.
Like I think what obviously elevates even more is because he has that supporting cast, which is just so good. Put on top of the amazing side quests that can really just hit home for you, that are really really good. And yeah, it's there's some things that obviously that just didn't work for me, but they're in there, and I'm kind of happy that they are in there because it's like it may not be something for me, but it's not it's not taken away from the game for me, The game is still high for me. It's like I still would say this is an awesome game. Go out and buy it. Don't worry about these two elements that maybe not work for me and Amy, but heck, if you buy it, it may work for you. It's like especially if you're a massive fan of Animal Crossing and Pokemon and everything like that. If it had a Bulbasaur skin, I probably would have done it.
Give it time. Give it time. But no, it's such a the characters are so great. I like when and this is getting into the weeds a bit, but Sunhee, one of the characters who's in Kiryu's side of the story, was in the previous game, but not a playable character. And when I realized she was going to be in my party, I was very happy. I was like, yes!
Oh, great stuff.
And then Zhao turns up, and I'm like, yes! He's back! All the characters are phenomenal.
Yeah.
There you go, then. Well, there we go. I mean, so this gets a score of we don't do this here out of 10. But it looks like it's a game where you should buy it. What are we, judging the Olympics or something?
This gets a score
go
of
buy this game.
This gets a score of. I'm looking forward to talking about it with Vitz later in the month/year, and also I'll look forward to talking about it in December out of 10.
Yes.
Yeah, it's amazing. Go out and buy it. It's well worth the money and everything like that.
Absolutely. So that's the Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth review. And it's something a little bit different. Normally, we do an Indie Game of the Week, transition it in halftime, but it's a special edition of Indie Game of the Week this week because it was Steam Next Fest last week. And I played 9 indie games last week. So we're going to take a break and then come back to Indie Game of the Week because it's about that time. See you in a minute. Let's go. Indie Games of the Week. I love Next Fest. Next Fest is great. Like you download a bunch of demos, you play a bunch, and some of them you're like, yeah, this doesn't vibe with me, and then you play others and you're like, this is amazing, and I've never heard of it before. Because I try to focus on games that I didn't know anything about. Like there was demos available for games that, like, apart from one game on this list, which was a previous Indie Game of the Week, like I try to avoid games that I know anything about. So I can learn about some cool new ones. And I learned about some cool new ones. Let me tell you, I've got 9 to talk about. And my rule is I don't bring it up on the podcast if I didn't like it. So I liked all of these. But yeah, like I've done this, I've formatted it the same way I did it last time with Moody, where it's like I've just written short notes. And if anybody wants to ask me any questions, you go ahead. But as you just said, it's Coffee Caravan. My clear number 1 favorite child of Steam Next Fest. So I've written, and these are all in short notes forms, so it's not grammatically correct as sentences. I've written, extremely addictive, cozy, overcooked, except with coffee instead of food. Compulsive loop, satisfying when getting into a rhythm. You buy new recipes and items that give bonuses. You lay out your own caravan. And all of this makes it a game I actually really want to play more of. Also, it's a roguelike.
Okay.
It's a cozy roguelike that reminds me of Slay the Spire. And it's the only demo I played where I was like, oh, it's over. I want to play more. Coffee Caravan, baby. All the links to these games will be in the description. In fact, I think the Coffee Caravan demo is still live right now. I need to scroll down because I do not know.
Diceomancer is that
Diceomancer, yeah. You tell me which game and I'll tell you what I thought about it.
Sure.
Diceomancer is Slay the Spire with added chaos. A deck builder, but you can also use dice powers to change any number in the game, no matter how broken that is. And it's tremendously fun and very hilarious. I feel like the full game could have a ton of depth combining card and dice mechanics, and it's also got a really cool art style. Yeah, so if a boss has 250 health, you can spend a dice to roll a d6 and change their health number to whatever the roll is. And you can do that for numbers on cards, your own health, anywhere there's a number on the screen, you can change it.
You are the Diceomancer.
You are the Diceomancer.
Awesome. Sounds good. Next up, Cabernet.
Cabernet. This is the one that was a previous Indie Game of the Week. Came for the vampire RPG, stayed for the intriguing world building and interesting characters. The demo sets up your first night as a vampire quite well. There's a lot of intrigue to build from, along with morality and relationships to build. Skills that unlock new dialogue options are pretty cool too. Choices have consequences, and you don't always know when you're making them. Plus, you can turn into a bat. Whee! I wrote all of that down.
Yeah, you did. Amazing. Great stuff. Next up, a little title called Hollow Body.
Hollow Body. I practically wrote this is a limerick. Hollow Body is the definition of, we have Silent Hill at home, but if the Silent Hill at home is better than the Takeout Silent Hill, which is the better Silent Hill?
Damn.
Promising game. Promising game, good atmosphere, a little janky, but forgivably so. Definitely has potential.
Hell yes. Next up, it's Duck Detective, The Secret Salami.
Duck Detective. The juxtaposition of full-on noir detective game starring grizzled duck detective going through a divorce and trying to kick his bread addiction with cute cartoon graphics is a 10 out of 10. Also, the golden eye and all mechanics are great.
Awesome.
It's such a weird thing where it's like a cartoon duck, but he's got the gravelly voice.
Yeah.
And he's going through a divorce. And he's addicted to bread.
Boy.
And he's got no money.
Gotta kick that habit. Moving things along. Little boy, Berserk Boy.
Berserk Boy. What I would call very Mega Man X-esque. Stylish, fast-paced action platforming that feels really good when you get a rhythm going, but with a modern setting that means infinite retries instead of an outdated live system. Plus, the music is banging too. This one releases on March 6th.
The music. Awesome, yeah.
Comes out in less than a month.
The music is often my favorite bits of Mega Man games and Mega Man X. So yeah, great to hear that this is going to bang the soundtrack too.
Boy.
Yeah. Kind Words 2, Lo-Fi City Pop.
Not much of the game seemed to be available for the demo, but it was still an incredibly cozy experience. Throwing affirmations into the air in the form of paper airplanes and receiving them, sending and receiving recommendations, or just sitting and relaxing to the lo-fi beats. I could see myself checking in with this game a ton. So, like, it's not a game I would say, like, I'm going to sit and play for hours at a time. But like, you jump in, throw a paper airplane in the air that says, like, you got this. Like, read the ones. And then the recommendation system was really interesting because there's like a store where you can like ask for recommendations for anything. And then people will just write back to you. So I was answering questions on there, and I got some recommendations for some music, and it was really cool. It was really cool.
Brilliant. Next up is Monomyth.
Monomyth. Old school first-person RPG with a really engaging and immersive world. And what I meant by that is it just feels really present. Like, you pull switches and you do this. And, beefy combat that's a bit simplistic, but it's designed that way on purpose with its own rhythms and an interesting spellcasting system. Bit clunky in the mechanics, needs better tutorializing, bit buggy. Potential is still there, but it definitely needs some more work.
Awesome. Then last by no means least, the most interesting game on this list because it has, at least for me, fantasy critic connotations. Realm of Ink.
We have Hades at home. If Hades was in China, let me try that again. We have Hades at home. If home was in China, this is a Chinese Hades like with an ink theme, ink pets, ink art style, ink themed power ups, and some interesting ideas. Pet that evolves differently depending on what combination of abilities you have equipped. With fun weapons, interesting enemy variety. It does need more variety, but it's a demo of the beginning of a roguelike, so it might already have it.
Right, okay. Is this worth a counterpick?
No.
Okay.
No, no, don't do that. There are plenty of better counterpicks available in Fantasy Critic.
I just tested the waters. I don't know anything about these games, so but no, I just wanted to ask that. But no, great stuff. That is a great selection of games.
So it was great. I had a great Sunday. I sat down with a bunch of demos, and I played.
That was good ass Sunday.
It was a good ass Sunday.
Moody, any of those tickle your fancy?
Always interested in new games that I don't know much about and everything. And Amy's always a good supply for all of those and everything. So basically, Amy's basically what Xbox players are these days, where they'd become the beta tester for the games to be fixed later on for PS5 and everything.
We don't like that connotation.
They all sound great. Like, I love a cozy game like Coffee Caravan. That sounds just right up my alley, especially as I'm a good over. I love what was the other game analogy? Overcooked, yeah. And you told me about this earlier. And when you said Overcooked, I was like, that doesn't sound not cozy at all. But after you tell me and explaining it, it sounds really canny, which is really canny. So yeah, I look forward to like giving some of these a go and everything when they all drop and everything. And like like we always say on here, wish list them, everybody. Like, it's trust me, the developers will love you for that. It's a good gauge for developers to know that they know they're in the right direction and everything. So,
like I say, a few of them, the demos are still available. Because I was getting the links for them on Steam for the show notes, and I did see that like a few of them still had the demos up. So,
That's fantastic. Yeah.
Minimize that. I think Moody, you would really love Coffee Caravan. Fitz, I think you would like Cabernet, but I think you would really like Disomancer as well.
Yeah, I think that was one that was speaking to me, just in terms of pure chaos and anything with the Diam
carnage. Like I did a thing where it's like you open up a portal to another world, and I pulled a machine gun out.
Amazing.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, it's like it's
everyone's
got
a plan until they get a machine gun to the face, right?
It's like it tricks you into thinking it's like a nice fantasy cozy game, and then it just says here's a mechanic. Go nuts, and you just go, holy shit, I really can't go nuts on this game.
Brilliant stuff. Speaking of games that are coming to platforms soon. Smooth segue. Shall we touch on a little bit of a business update given to us by business corporate types over in the land of Team Green?
Fine.
It's like getting that out. It's like just so. Let's just get it out of the way.
I'm gonna set my stall out right now and say this, and say the same thing I said to Mooney after this fucking Xbox business update podcast was over. This is exactly what I expected to happen. I just don't. I just feel like my expectations were not aligned with the Xbox community because it was a whole lot of nothing. It was like, oh, it's 4 games, and then like they went on and talked about a bunch of other stuff throughout the podcast about like preservation and all the other stuff, business stuff, and it was all exactly like the same as they talked about previously. Like, and I found my annoyance was not directed at Xbox or Phil or Sarah or Matt, but at the people who blew this out of proportion for a week and a half.
A lot of people went Chicken Little and thought, "Oh no, the sky's falling." I
kind of see where they're coming from, because they were just getting news story after news story. Yeah, was Halo's going, Gears is going, Starfield's going. None of it's going.
Yeah,
and I didn't think it was. It's been a frustrating week and a half.
Yeah, hopefully there's. I want to say there's cautionary tales to take from this, but from some Switch 2 or Super Nintendo Switch articles which are banding around today, I don't think anybody learned a goddamn thing. But
no, because immediately following the business update, it was tons more articles. Ooh, sources say that like these 4 games are to test, and then they're going to send these games, and it's like, have we learned nothing?
Yes. So for those who didn't catch the business update as a podcast, or how it should have been as an Xbox Wire update, so Phil Spencer, Sarah Bond, and Matt Booty, hosted by the wonderful Tina Amini, formerly of IGN fame, they held a around about 20-minute conversation to go over various different things about their strategy going forwards, and then we got a lot of corporate speak from a lot of people. But yeah, obviously the news going, or the vibe going into that was it was all over, and Tim Dog threw his Xbox in the bin. I've not got the final update on whether Tim Dog has recovered his Xbox from the bin or not, but yeah, for some reason, four titles are going to make their way to other systems. They weren't at liberty to say which titles they were at this point in time. My understanding is that they've got previous arrangements with the likes of a Nintendo or a PlayStation of whether they're going to do a Nintendo Direct and announce it there, that they're going to leave it on the developers to announce it when and if they're ready, kind of thing. There's some criteria that was listed out or outlined out to say which titles would be eligible to come over. From what they said, the vibe at the moment is it's likely to be Sea of Thieves, it's your Pentiment, it's your Hi-Fi Rush, and it's Grounded. But all that's hearsay until we actually get it confirmed. So yeah, don't buy it whatsoever.
Stop biting.
Then so the whole thing, I think what they felt they needed to do this, and they were going to do it, I think later towards the end of the month anyway. But because some things leaked, they brought this update forwards. So what they wanted to do more than anything was to alleviate the fears of the Xbox faithful in terms of, okay, well, I've invested in your ecosystem. Tell me why I've invested in your ecosystem if you're just going to throw away the only thing that makes it quote unquote special. elsewhere, and I think there's a larger conversation to have around like parasocial relationships and how corporations just aren't your friend, and how if your whole identity is tied up in a corporation and their video game system, and if if the concept of sharing things gets you all riled up, then you got some bigger problems, friend.
Yeah, look in the fucking mirror and have a talk to yourself, because seriously, like I can basically state easily from people who I've spoken to and everything like that, like games industry wants to be everywhere in everything they can put on. If they can put all their games on everything, they will happily be able to do it. But obviously, certain structures, if you work for Sony or if you work for Nintendo or for work for Xbox, they're pretty much lock you behind it and everything because of the exclusivity thing that they have to try and coerce you into getting their box and everything and whatnot. But the industry the industry seems fine with it, for what I can tell. It's the fans, it's and everything like that, and misinformation, rumors coming out and saying that that Starfield is going on there. Hey, Xbox era, and everything like that.
Yeah,
the Gears is going. Hey, Jeff Grubb.
Tino Mini and
hey, Verge, I see you out there.
So Tina Mini and Phil Spencer, they went to great lengths to say that definitely Starfield and Machine Games' upcoming title, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, terrible name, but hopefully a decent game, they will remain an Xbox exclusive, even though obviously it'll be available on PC as well. I think it's one of the things where they accept that exclusives is what moves the needle in terms of, to Moody's point, selling boxes at the end of the day. From my own personal stance, I enjoy exclusives, and the only aspect of them is that there's an opportunity for a developer to fully optimize their title for one system, and then they don't have to worry about different bunch of SKUs and how they might do, and then obviously bringing it to PC and all the different options that people have in terms of GPUs and CPUs and all that jazz. I enjoy that bit of a game has a better chance to run as best as it can do on whatever platform it happens to be on. But games should be for everyone. You should be able to play whatever games you want with whoever you want, wherever you want to play them, kind of thing. And there's no downsides for more people being able to access these games. And I mean, there's a further conversation to have about video game preservation and digital libraries going forwards and whatnot. But for the aspect of, or the notion that exclusives are good because it keeps other people from playing the games that I enjoy, is completely asinine, and it's backwards in so many different ways.
Agreed.
Completely agree.
That's it. Then Sarah Bond went on to say that they are committed to hardware, and that they will be making the largest technology leap largest technological leap in generations that there's ever been. And that, Sarah, girl, that's a load of nonsense. You said some word salad in there, but that was the biggest load of dookie I've ever seen in my life.
It's good marketing, I'll give her that, but no. We're reaching the plateau. We're in the realm of diminishing returns, right? 20 years ago, you could make that claim, because how a game looked in 2000 versus how it looked in 2003 was like a massive step between those two things. But we're in the lands of diminishing returns now, where it's the leap between PS4 and PS5 wasn't that big.
Nope.
And
it was
PS5
faster, shinier, and prettier. Yeah.
The technological power of the next box isn't going to be the thing that drives video games to the next height. It's going to be the designs of the games. It's going to be what can we do with the games, and technology can play a part in that for sure. Like the DualSense, for example, when we got our hands on PlayStation 5, and I was texting Moody going, can I nominate a controller for Game of the Year? That kind of stuff is really cool. But if you're talking about this is going to be the next big, this is going to be so massive, you're not going to be able, there's going to be 17 bazillion polygons on the screen. It's it's not, one, it's not true anymore, and two, I don't
Yeah.
even think it's a thing that can drive games forward at this point.
And also, how much are you going to charge for this box, which is going to be the greatest thing since sliced bread? And it's going to like, are you going to have your, for one, for a better word, you have your Series X at the moment. Is there going to be a middle step, which is what would be like a mid-season refresh, which is this cylindrical system that we saw in the FTC leaks? And then is there going to be another system on top of that, which goes for $1,000? Like, at that point, what's the point? And how many titles are going to be optimized in order to use all of that extra horsepower and all the rest of it? But that's beside the by. Sarah then went on to say a lot of business numbers which weren't for the fans, because the fans don't give a crap. It's for shareholders and things. It's for so 39 million Game Pass subscribers, which is a heck of a lot of people. Obviously, that's across all different types of systems, be it on Xbox or PC or xCloud or wherever it is that you like to get that content. It was interesting only in terms of we understand what the PS5 sell-through numbers are, and then you can do a like-for-like comparison with the amount of current Xbox Game Pass subscribers. So I think that even so, they're in a deficit. But what I think is missed out by a lot of people is not just Xbox first-party titles that end up on Game Pass. There's a lot of third-party titles as well, and a lot of great games that end up there. It is still, for me, the best value in gaming at the moment. So I'm not a subscriber to PS Plus, but I'm a subscriber to Xbox Game Pass on PC kind of thing, because that's where I see the value in being able to play a raft of third-party games that I actually want to play and mostly current and all that good stuff. Then this is a bit where you lost me, Sarah. You lost me at the we're going to build the next biggest best box you ever did see. You go on to address the layoffs that we've had in the industry. Obviously, not just last year, because layoffs have been a thing for a while, kind of thing, but the most amount of layoffs that we've had. Then you go on in the very next sentence to say the industry hasn't grown, but then you're in double-digit growth on PC and all the rest of it. It's like, Sarah, come on, girl, what are you doing?
The fact that they've said
you laid off 1,900 people, and then the next thing you said was, "Oh, well, the video game business is doing. Our video game department is doing great, double-digit growth. It's all good. Yeah. It's all roses around here."
The fact that they thought they could get away with saying that, like, those two things back to back, was incredible to me. Like, oh, well, video games we had a lot of good video games in 2023, but the video game industry didn't grow. Check out our Game Pass subscribers. We had double-digit growth on that shit. It's like, and like, and just the fact that the Embracer CEO turned around today and said, "Hold my beer," as far as like stupid shit goes, is incredible. But yeah, no, like it was such that part of the statement just stuck out like a sore thumb, where it's just like
it just shows
you
no
didn't bring
compassion.
This up at all.
Yeah, for me, it just showed no compassion or no contrition about any of the layoffs that went down, just at Xbox, never mind the video game industry at large. And then they're only concerned with, much like Embracer Group, at least they had the guts to come out and say and be honest about it. Look, we're looking out for our shareholders right now. The Xbox fans, you're going to be mad for about a week, and then we're going to dangle something else in front of you, and you're going to be even more mad about that elsewhere, kind of thing. So, it was a business update, and it was for business people, and I hope that all the business people's got exactly what they needed out of it.
The ultimate thing, I think, ultimately, what I've seen is that obviously when that whole thing finished, articles all started to drop instantly, which they've obviously spoken to people that they've said you can launch them at this time, basically. And there's obviously the one on The Verge, which I'm going to quote here from it. So he was obviously asking, you mentioned stuff, Phil Spencer, I just want to reiterate, was asked, obviously he says, like, these are the 4 that are coming, but 4 games are coming, Starfield and Indiana Jones aren't coming, blah, blah, blah. And he was very definitive on that podcast about saying that these aren't coming right now. These 4 games are going, blah, blah, blah. We have no other plans for that. But then obviously he was asked again, you mentioned, can you rule this out? And he says, I don't think we should, as an industry, ever rule out a game going to any other platform. We're focused on these 4 games and learn from the experience. But I don't want to create a false expectation, blah, 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 blah. And I think that's where certain people on the internet are going, well, now he's saying this and everything. That's not what you just said on the podcast type of thing. And
exactly
and I'm just like,
on the podcast.
Yeah.
What?
So
it's exactly. I'm responding to the people you're referring to. Saying, That's exactly what he said. That's exactly what he said for years.
That's it. He kept saying like the strategy hasn't changed for like a decade. But there's no, sorry to cut across you, there's no universe where the titles that do come across, whatever they happen to be, kind of thing, we might have them wrong, we might have them right. There's no universe in which they don't produce positive results for them in terms of sales, in terms of the concurrent player base and things like that. And maybe they'll get a few people to come across and adopt Xbox Game Pass, say on their PC. No one's gonna throw their PlayStation in the bin and go pick up an Xbox next week. That's just not how it's gonna work, kind of thing. But there's no world in which Xbox doesn't look at the results of these and thinks, well, we should bring everything over. And then just work out how to manage that conversation, because at the end of the day, it's going to make them money. They love money at the end of the day.
Yeah, I completely agree with you.
It's the same as PlayStation's approach, right? To releasing games on PC, and the PlayStation president, CFO, has even talked about being more aggressive with doing this because it's giving them returns. Xbox releasing fucking whatever, Hi-Fi Rush. Let's go with that. Yeah. So they release Hi-Fi Rush on Switch. Bunch of people paid to buy it on Switch. One, they're gonna get lots of sales from that, which means they're gonna get lots of money from that, and then fund development of Hi-Fi Rush 2, Electric Boogaloo. And the great thing about that is they're not gonna release Hi-Fi Rush 2, Electric Boogaloo on Switch day and date. So a bunch of people are gonna play this game on Switch, really fucking enjoy it because it's a really good game. And then the second one's going to come out, and then you go, ooh, maybe I'll get myself an Xbox, or maybe I'll get myself a Game Pass subscription. I have a Samsung Smart TV, or I have a laptop, or you know what I mean? Like I have a computer that can run PC games, and that's going to bring more people into the Xbox ecosystem, not force people away from the Xbox ecosystem.
100%.
I completely agree with what you're saying, because I think there's something very something that was said during the podcast that I don't think anyone's really pinpointing on, and it's something that all three of us have talked about just a few weeks ago, all of that sustainability in games and everything like that. Like there's no sustainability in video games right now, like the whole thing what you just said about they just fired just under 2,000 people, and yet you're talking about profits and everything, and your main company, Microsoft, your main holder, is a now $3 trillion company and everything. But like we've stated on many occasions, that right now the video game industry is not sustainable, and what Xbox want to try and become sustainable. I think this is something that Microsoft has told them to do as well, but I don't think it's a bad thing.
Nope.
I don't think this is a bad thing whatsoever, because one, it gets more games to more people and everything, which is for me is okay, go for it, fantastic. Everyone should be able to play the games and everything, but like. And we're seeing it, like Sony, just a couple of days ago, whenever they talked about their thing yesterday or the day before that, like they are like looking to be more sustainable as well. Like they've just like gone through the whole thing of like what Microsoft does. Like they've just sacked off a ton of freaking people because they overgrowed and everything, just like all places that did, and the mismanagement and everything. But they're also looking for sustainability as well. That's why they want, and they probably are going to go full on to day-and-day release, their exclusives going on to PC, same days and everything like that, which is a fantastic thing. It's great. It's awesome.
And it won't be
fantastic.
all of them. It'll be some of them.
Yeah.
But
that's Ghost of Tsushima still hasn't come to PC.
But it's the same principle for PlayStation. Like they release God of War on PC. A bunch of people play it and love it because it's a fucking great game, and then go, shit, I want to play the next one. Like maybe I should get a PlayStation.
End of the year of that year, God of War 2 came out.
Yeah, Ragnarok. Absolutely,
yeah, Ragnarok. Yeah,
like it'll, and then it's like, I wonder if any of these other PlayStation games are really good. Like, maybe I should get a PlayStation. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and then they're in that ecosystem.
100%. Like, as soon as Ghost of Tsushima 2 or whatever it's called is announced, Ghost of Tsushima will come to PC. Don't you worry.
But like the thing Phil said, paraphrasing, or it's like we've got two options in front of us, and one is we can monetize the players that we already have, which is a tactic most popularized by Ubisoft. It's like we're going to get more and more aggressive with monetization because we've reached the peak of how many players we can reach with these games that we make, so we have to try and monetize those gamers further, or we can just try and find new gamers. And if you try to monetize the player base that you have too much, you'll have a smaller player base.
Look, you can't nickel and dime everybody. There is a limit. Everyone has a
Everyone
limit.
has a
Now
limit.
you're taking the piss.
Yeah. So, like, from my biggest main takeaway was like sustainability. It's the most important thing right now for the video game industry. For a lot of industries, like freaking, like I've stated multiple times, the movie industry's going through this right now. They're looking for sustainability and everything, and this is ultimately, hopefully, cross fingers, long term will make the company, the video game industry more sustainable, where they are not sacking off multiple fucking thousands of people all the time, which is because this is we're gonna be talking about freaking seconds for till the end of probably next year, going off how everyone's talking and whatnot, which is terrible thing to think. It's like it's not gonna properly level out for a year or two, which is really, really crap. So like if this helps us to get the sustainability for less seconds and everything, I'm all for it. Go third party it all.
The issue's going to compound itself in terms of, I mean, we just read, and we're like mixing in tons of news stories here, but fuck it, let's do it. Well, we just saw Lars Vingefors, dickhead in charge of Embracer Group, talk about we're cancelling tons of games and we're not investing as much, and it's like, that's not going to dig you out of the hole. You are supposed to sell video games. But
we're thinking of just our shareholders.
He's just talking for his own company, and he's being like, the one thing I will give him credit for is he's being more honest than most other video game executives, and that's the only thing I will give him credit for. He's a fucking knob. But like, tons of game companies are doing this right now, and
I understand Bandai Namco announced today that they scratched off 5 games in development,
and that's not great because again, you're in that thing that Phil said, where it's like, it's not even about monetization. It's like, well, we can reach that. They're just going to try and reach the same players, and you're in the lands of diminishing returns again. Or you can try and reach new players by taking risks. Every amazing, fantastic video game franchise that ever happened because somebody took a risk.
Yes.
Somewhere along the chain. Everything was a risk.
About it. Yeah. To me, even though I won't lie, I said this last night. Phil looked knackered. He looked exhausted. It's like, and he's had a week and a half, and like, Phil, just take care of yourself, sir. Like, that's all that is important. We're behind you. We're all agreeing with you. Get everything on everything. Ignore the haters and whiny crybabies. I am sorry. You are acting like crybabies, people, sometimes. A lot. All the time.
I try to be like fair and balanced trademark on this podcast towards people as best as I can, but my God. Like, when you were relaying the things that you were hearing after the business update to me, like, I wanted to scream.
Yeah.
I was just God damn, man. And then, like, you know, people are speculating about like other games later down the line. It's just like, this. I don't even have the words. Moody knows how frustrated I am.
Yeah, the whole thing is just like overblown. Again, don't listen to rumors. Just
like,
wait until
listening to rumors is fine, and it can be fun, like when engaged with responsibly. But like, once you start like believing every single rumor you hear, you're gonna go fucking crazy. There's a reason we have a long-standing rule on this podcast where we usually don't bring rumors up.
Especially
I don't know, Ames. We've got a lot of uncles. We got a lot of uncles that work in a lot of video game companies. They can't all be wrong.
Yeah. I wrote a joke last night when you sent me a message asking me like, "Oh, what 4 games do you think it's gonna be?" And like, you didn't annoy me. The question annoyed me because I was just like, I'm not falling for that. And I was like, I wrote a joke. I wrote a bit where I was going to be like, well, my sources tell me that the 4 games that are going multi-platform are going to be Redfall, Crackdown 3, Scalebound, and Crash Bandicoot. Ooh.
Scalebound's coming back. Oh shit.
They're sending Scalebound on PlayStation.
How's coming back? PlayStation safe Scalebound.
But I don't even want to make that joke. Someone might believe me. Like, Xbox fans seem to be particularly gullible.
Really are. There's no doubt about it. But yeah,
I don't understand the doom and gloom mentality. Like, yeah, sure, Xbox is in a distant third place, and yeah, sure, you know, things aren't going great if you measure things up as a competition. But like, Xbox is a platform, like to what you were saying before, Vic, where it's like, oh, you know, if you haven't got the exclusives, what have you got? I mean, tons. You've got incredible backwards compatibility. You've got a good ecosystem. That you've got the best online service because it works more than the other two, especially the bloody Nintendo one. Like, Xbox has a lot of positives, and if this one thing is all it took for you to fucking trade in your Xbox, decide you're not going to be an Xbox podcast anymore, like, you need to look at the ecosystem that you're in and figure out why you're unhappy with it, because you were already unhappy with it before. If all it's going to take is fucking Pentiment and Grounded going to other platforms.
If this is the straw that broke your back.
If that was the straw that broke your back, you need to have a look at yourself and why you have nailed yourself to the Xbox mast, because there's some deeper issues there. And I'm not making a joke about like issues. I'm just saying, like, there's some deeper issues that you have with Xbox that you need to address within yourselves. Otherwise, you're just always going to be miserable.
And a hateful shrew. Yeah, they'd just be a hateful little shrew and everything like that. Like, I appreciate like if like Xbox is your preferred place to play, but all these rumors and everything that was going out wasn't telling you that you won't be able to play these games ever again.
Yeah,
it
doesn't devalue
they might go to other platforms.
It didn't devalue your investment or your machine that sits under your TV 1 iota.
Yeah.
There was no downside to you.
It's like,
but no, I get that people are, tribal and they want to feel like, or they have a primal need to belong, kind of thing. And for some reason, they decide to put their faith in corporations and the communities they. Sorry,
I don't want to cut across you, but I'm just going to say, look, the console war arguments were funny when I was in sixth form, and we were arguing about PlayStation 2 and Xbox, and me and my mate were sitting in the corner going, actually, the GameCube's the best one, and we were 100% objectively right about that. But it's not. You're an adult.
Yes.
Like, you don't. My box is better than your box. It's like, it doesn't matter. But all three boxes have good games on them.
Yeah,
that you can only get on those boxes.
All of these corporations are posting profits. Some might be bigger profits than others, but they're still doing well,
If Xbox were doing so badly that, all of the doom and gloom was necessary, there wouldn't be another Xbox. They wouldn't have bought a bunch of companies. They would be folding their game business up, like Sega did.
Also, just consider this. They spent, near $100 billion, a billion with a B, folks. billion with a B dollars on, developers and publishers and whatnot. To be, I think, as Phil went to great lengths to say, the biggest publisher in the business at the moment, just in terms of the amount of studios that they have. Well, Embracer might have had more studios by a numerical thing, but, studios with, some notion of actually putting out games. And they need to do something to make all that money back.
Shots fired.
Yeah.
Or at least Microsoft are making games. Fuck, man. I feel so bad for everybody who works for a Bertha company. I really do. Jesus Christ. So with all that being said, can I turn... is Xbox alive again?
Xbox is alive. We can start popping the champagne.
I'm going to turn the Xbox light back on, since they're not actually dead. And you can figure out what we're talking about next while I do that.
Where do you want to go, Vitz?
I don't want to touch on. I don't want to delve too deep in this, but King Charles being dependent on a video game coming out. it's a thing. It's a story that tickled me.
Discworld re-release may happen. It depends on King Charles. What the bloody hell?
Yeah. So if the royal family of the Great Britain and Rule Britannia and all that jazz, if they didn't do enough damage to the world with their colonization and the British Empire and the sun will never set on the British Empire and all that jazz, now there's this shit.
Colonizers have come.
When did the royals
games.
start ruining video games? When did they get involved in this shit?
So
they have their own things to do right now.
So just to read the article to give it some context. So a re-release of 90s point-and-click Discworld game may happen, designer Greg Barnett has teased. However, the developer has said that because the way intellectual property rights work in the UK, 50% of the game currently belongs to the Crown, which complicates matters a tad. So for those listening in other parts of the world, the Crown is what's referred to as the royal family here and their estate and everything that they own.
So as the quote goes from the guy, Terry...
Barnett.
No, not Terry. Greg Greg Barnett, one of the designers of Discworld. Whenever something closes in the UK, which the developer and studio of the Discworld games closed a long time ago, intellectual property rights revert 50% to the original creator and 50% to the crown, which is King Charles. So that's the two owners of the game. So the game, specifically the Discworld games, 50% belongs to King Charles.
But don't think he's the richest person in the UK, because that's still Rishi Sunak, the Prime Minister. Yes, friends, the Prime Minister is somehow richer than the king, all the shady shit him and his wife have been getting up to, but that's a different podcast.
Real talk, though, like setting aside the Discworld shit, right? Like, we're all British here. Like, you know, when we have to talk about the monarchy, does anyone else just feel embarrassed about the fact that
1,000%.
like the king this and the king that? It's just like, it's embarrassing. I feel embarrassed whenever we have to talk about the fact that we have a king.
As a product of the British Empire, I have a deep issues with the royal family.
I mean, that's not my only issue with it. Like, as I've stated before, but like, it's just like every time, like, it's like the king, it's like, oh yeah, that's a thing.
You're mute, my friend.
Oh no, the
said
king.
Nothing good.
The king's colonized his microphone.
Oh no! Well, I said it was the Netflix show was good. Didn't piss them off at all.
That's true. But yeah, I didn't want to spend too long on that one. Just that was a quirk of UK businesses and things like that.
So if I create a business and it just closed, 50% would go to Charles.
Well, I think basically.
And the IP would.
50% of
not necessarily the
IP
debt or anything like that. Yeah.
would go to King Charles. He would own 50% of your IP. Like if you created Dino Crisis 4. Like that's it.
So like if you register a company's house, then you're getting in bed with King Charles.
Interesting.
Which
not
is
to put that vision in people's mind.
Visual that you just placed in my mind. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Do you know what else is a terrifying visual? Yellow paint.
Go for it.
Yellow paint.
Yellow paint. Like you know what? People ran out of steam.
Yeah,
arguing and complaining about Xbox. They need something to fucking complain about.
About a time.
So they started complaining about yellow paint in video games. So this was all the part of the state of play that happened with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. You know, there's climbing sections in the game. The ledges are highlighted by yellow paint, as they are in a bunch of other different games. AAA games at this point, like all of the fucking AAA games at this point. And someone was like, yellow paint in Final Fantasy VII. And then like it just went, and I don't know why. Again, I don't know why. No, I guess everybody was just having a slow weekend. But like it reached an incredible amount of discourse about yellow paint. Just yellow paint. Can't believe there's yellow paint on these things. Oh, it's how immersion breaking. Yes, the game where you fly around on magical coloured chickens.
And
that's where your immersion breakpoint is.
Yeah. I guess it's better than saying, "Oh God, I'm playing a woman again. Oh my God." You know, it's
we're taking the small ones where I can get them moody. But obviously there's a larger conversation to have about design language, but because people have been successful with yellow paint in terms of, when they do focus testing and things like that, and how systems like that, obviously there's different ways you can go about that, but putting these systems in place reduces players' frustration and fatigue and all the rest of it, and helps them navigate the world. And from an accessibility point of view, rational people have no problem with this whatsoever. I think just because it's so prevalent, and in games like Resident Evil 4, I think it's more egregious than others. And I think where it stems from is that people just wanted a bit more variety, and potentially there's other colors or other systems they could have employed, but everyone seems to be falling in this path of, we need to highlight a pathway, then yellow is the color to do so. And that's just a design language that seems to permeate throughout the industry.
I think it's more because it's more of a neutral color for people. everything.
Okay.
Going off of what I know and everything like that. But
Yeah.
Yeah, if you delve into sort of color theory and stuff, it's like, well, red, purple, pink, that sort of spectrum. I mean, it would indicate other things. Yellow is a more neutral sort of color.
Mhm.
Sorry,
But yeah.
I was done.
But
the simplest thing would just be having the switch.
Switch it
Have
on.
Have
it
it on or
toggle
have
option.
it off. You know, yeah.
Switch it on, switch it off. No, actually, I mean, there's a deeper, which I highlighted a post by Aiden Moore who made the point that I was thinking of the entire time, which was there's a deeper design conversation to be had about why the fuck do some of these games even have climbing? Like,
yes. I mean, in Final Fantasy VII in particular, like, all these characters are huffed up on materia, and they've got, some have macro poisoning and some have drunken all the macro in the world kind of thing. And they have the ability to leap off ledges and buildings and shit, but, we've got to scale this like 10-foot wall.
But the same state of play, they were like, oh, here's a chocobo that can climb up a cliff. And it's just like, well, why do you need the ledges then? Like, slowly climbing, fake climbing, as I've called it on the podcast in the past, is an annoyance of mine, as Moody knows from previous games. And I would rather it just, like, forget, like, the yellow paint discourse. I want to start the fake climbing discourse. I want fake climbing out of these games.
Yes.
Give me real climbing, like, you cowards, or not at all. Why am I climbing around in God of War? He's the God of War.
Aiden. To quote Aiden's post in full just for context, the big issue with yellow painting is the AAA games industry trying to turn every series into the same game. Final Fantasy, Horizon, and God of War shouldn't all feel so similar to navigate/explore. Quote. Yeah, 1,000%.
She's got a grappling thing. Why the fuck? It's just. You just hold forward on an analog stick and push X every now and again, and it just frustrates me every time. Uncharted can get away with it because it's literally a game partially about fucking climbing around on shit. And I guess like Tomb Raider is the same thing. It's like we climb around on shit. So I get why there's like climbing shit in that game. But like when you go to Final Fantasy, it's like, why am I climbing the thing? Like unless it's a snowy mountain at the end of at the beginning of disc 2. Like what the fuck? What am I doing? Why am I climbing?
They hate yellow paint. They must have hated the yellow pages.
They must have. But yeah, I mean, the backlash to the yellow paint is, I mean, I don't want to seem like, I don't want to come off as one of those people. It's like the yellow paint is fine, like whatever. Just like I said to Vitz, I wish you could just turn it on or off. Like even Elden Ring had the fucking yellow path.
Yep.
They had accessibility. Oh no.
That showed you which fucking way to go. So like, ooh, well, From Software would never do. They did.
Yes,
they actually did.
You clearly didn't play this From Software game last time.
Clearly, you're a fake gamer who needs to get good. But yeah,
where do we want to go
Evil
next,
4 one
friend?
is funny because the ladder that's completely covered in yellow paint. It's like, you can climb this. It's like, no shit, I can climb a ladder. Fuck.
Yes. You did need to put yellow paint on the ladder to indicate that it's a climbable object. Shout out to Ada Wong, though, doing Ada Wong things in that game.
Hell yeah. Shout out.
Can we talk about some amazing news about composers that Yoko Shimomura and game designer Fawzi Mesmar being honored at the GDCA 2024.
Let's do that.
Some amazing news. So Yoko Shimomura, composer for games such as Kingdom Hearts, Super Mario RPG, and Street Fighter 2, and Final Fantasy 15.
Sorry, Fitz, to interrupt you. You just watched my video, so you should know who Yoko Shimomura is.
I was joking.
Will receive this year's Lifetime Achievement Award, and Fawzi Mesmar, who has worked at major game companies for over 20 years in the industry and is an active mentor, author, public speaker, and more, will receive the Ambassador Award, awarded to individuals who elevate video games and the industry as a whole to a better place. So amazing things for amazing people. I'm lucky enough to see Yoko Shimomura compose live. And that's a memory that's going to sit with me forever. She's a complete badass, and more power to her. She deserves all the things.
I agree.
Respect.
I agree.
Respect.
Yeah.
Respect for both of them. Congratulations.
Hell yes. See,
Where would you like to go next,
you give these people awards. You didn't even need to jam 16 adverts in the middle of it. Amazing.
There you go. Or to say, to wrap it up.
Where do you want to go?
So, Amy, what's happening with Silent Hill 2?
I was literally about to say mother and father are fighting in the next room. So Bloober Team's president. Because I'm pulling this from a tweet from Ryan T. Brown at Toad's Anime. We bring him up a lot. He's fantastic. You should go follow him on social media. Bloober Team's president says the latest Silent Hill 2 trailer does not represent the game they are making, stating Konami are responsible for marketing, and joked, quote, "I wrote those negative comments myself," end quote. So, the Bloober Team president did a whole interview, and he was joking, about writing negative comments on Reddit and stuff about the Silent Hill 2 trailer being bad, because the Silent Hill 2 trailer was bad, and claimed and talked about how Konami did the marketing and they really fucked it up. The full interviews where he's talking about it and stuff is they fucked it, because this is they chose to focus on the combat. This isn't the game that we're making, and it's just oh man. Chris Scullion put a tweet out, which kind of summed up where I'm at with this game. It's this game is going to get a 70 on Metacritic, and then there's going to be this long fight argument between Konami and Bloober Team afterwards about whose fault it was.
Konami and toxic relationships with their studios. Name a more iconic couple. It's
it hurts being a Silent Hill fan. It's hurt for
one
a
of
long
these
time.
One of these people's are lying, right?
Someone, I mean, there's only one person talking, so
true.
I guess, it wouldn't surprise me if Konami were in charge of marketing. It wouldn't surprise me if Konami cut a trailer and didn't show Bloober Team or what it looked like before they sent it to the state of play. Everything he's saying, I could see being true. The interesting part is he said it in public.
Yes. He said it quiet out loud.
Which is an interesting one.
They are not having a good time right now. And I feel for all the fans who are massive fans of Silent Hill 2, like yourself, Amy, and everything.
Yeah, it's fine. We've been used to this.
But, yeah, so it's this is just going to sound like it's just going to be constantly like this all the way to potential release. I'm going off whenever it comes out. And yeah, it sucks. And I
hate it here. I'm just gonna say it. I hate it here. I plugged in my PS2, as I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, and the disc that was in the PS2 was Silent Hill 4. And for a brief moment, I was transported back in time to a time when Silent Hill being a Silent Hill fan was an enjoyable experience.
Was that the Silent Hill 4 The Room?
Yes, it was.
Was that a different one? Okay,
right. That was The Room, yeah.
Yeah.
I miss it. Sorry, I'm just.
Do we have a release date for Silent Hill 2?
No, they reckon it's 2020. PlayStation blog put out a post a month or so ago saying 2024, baby. And I mean, I can buy it. 2024 sounds reasonable.
Yeah, especially as PlayStation, that's saying no major existing franchises, basically from their first parties are coming. So for this year until
they've got to rely. So, they're relying more this year, I reckon, on their unknown games like Concord, for example, and also their third party publishing partners like Konami and Microsoft.
Mm-hmm.
See what I did there?
I did. I got to the end.
It was very quick.
It was. But obviously, they have console exclusives as well, which is going to see them through.
It doesn't matter. They're in the same position Nintendo were in 2020, where they only released one major console exclusive. PlayStation don't have to release Last of Us, or Ghost of Tsushima, or Uncharted, or whatever. They can coast. And what's interesting is it's something I've sort of put together between the Xbox shenanigans, PlayStation talking about, the PS5 is entering the latter half of its life cycle, is that console generations are usually about 6 to 7 years, and it takes longer than that to make a game. there's a bit of a disconnect coming in terms of how long it takes to make a game and how long a console is out for, which is a larger discussion I don't want to get into right at the tail end of this podcast, but like, yeah, it's interesting.
It is, but then to your point earlier about the difference between generations are so incremental now that it probably doesn't have as much as an impact these days, kind of thing.
Let's just not do them anymore.
Yeah.
Why do we need a PlayStation 6, Sony? I know why you need a PlayStation 6. Why do I need a PlayStation 6?
That's
the thing is about it. Oh, it's gone.
That's what it's be. What's going to be the USP, which is going to push you over the line, which is going to not just it does things prettier, it does things faster, and it's not in the shape of the monstrosity, the size that the PS5 was, kind of thing. It'll be even bigger this time. I don't know what the delta is going to be, aside from putting in tech like DLSS that NVIDIA putting in. So it'll be like AI super sampling and scaling and things to make things have more frames and stuff. But there's also a larger conversation that people buying TVs which can support higher than 60 frames a second are not mainstream yet. A lot of people haven't adopted them yet. So whether the actual monitors and TVs that people are using to run their consoles through, whether there's a disconnect there as well. But I don't know what the USP would be other than it does things better, faster, stronger, all that jazz.
Basically.
Yeah.
Like, oh, but it's going to have the exclusives. Well, most of the PS5 exclusives are also released on PS4 this year, and 2. Yep. I'm starting to reach that point where all of your games feel very similar to each other, and I'm not playing as many of them. And I'm usually more, like, as Moody knows, like, in terms of things like that, I'm usually more sensitive to that kind of thing than most people.
Yeah.
But,
100%. If your catalog is dominated by third-person action adventure games with similar-ish mechanics and things, and then you are gonna have there's an expiry date on when all that stuff starts to get stale for you.
Yeah, everyone has that tipping point. Look at the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Hey, Deadpool 3 apparently is going to save it all.
Hell yeah.
Marvel Jesus.
The thing is about it, like, I'm going to go off in a different direction, but
go for it.
That's only fallen because bad films. If the films were good, all of them pretty much, I think there would be a completely different conversation. That's the thing about it for that. Like, so I don't agree with that settlement when it comes to that's just because of what.
Oh no, like no, my point wasn't.
Films were great.
My point wasn't superhero fatigue is 100% like to do with the downfall of Marvel or whatever. Like, yeah, you're right. They have been producing things, from what I've heard, that aren't very good.
And they are, sadly, which is just one of those things that just hit them hard.
Yeah.
So
they've also put a super high target for them because everybody's chasing that high of
they still have to continuously go up and up and up and up and up and up forever, and that's totally sustainable and possible. As we all know, that's possible.
Yeah. Exactly.
We'll see. Let's close this podcast out. It is time
with some fun things
for a shitload of OpenCritic Head-To-Head results to all come through all at once. Good times. Yep, so all the live service games have popped off on OpenCritic Head-To-Head, and we have scores for all of them. I realized last week that I completely forgot Skull and Bones was coming out, so we never did an OpenCritic Head-To-Head for it, which would have been
there's
interesting.
Nothing for it anyway. So,
nah, there's reviews.
So technically, we can. There's reviews, but there's no score yet. So if you wanted to do a score, we could technically do it.
Not as.
I think the moment's passed.
Yeah.
No. I'm not saying do it. I'm just saying if you wanted to.
I appreciate you. Yeah.
Quote unquote. Even though I'm going to say the saying I hate. I want to say what I'm going to say. Playing devil's advocate. The score's not up yet.
Yeah, the score isn't up yet.
If you enjoy being devils and their advocates, then I've got the video game for you. It starts with a B and ends in Baldur's Gate 3. You get to hang out with a whole lot of devils in that game.
My
Yes,
PC
hang out.
character was very much
hang
a
out.
fucking
Yeah,
devil.
everything was definitely hanging out. I'll tell you that.
In
Hanging
any
all
form
the way
that
out.
Hanging
any form that
all
takes
the
your
way out.
fancy. You had options in that game. It gave you the choice if you wanted to be in
I
this
forgot
form
to
or this
say,
form,
I
or
forgot I forgot to put this in the story 2 weeks ago. It's through SkillUp who I saw this. So apparently, do you know that they're they're doing the gamers who love Baldur's Gate are doing speed runs to how fast you can get laid
Yeah, they've been doing it
in the
since the
game.
game came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
you have
didn't
to keep-
realize this. Apparently, someone's done it like in like 4 minutes or
It's-
something
yeah.
like that. I'm just like,
Well, it was
apparently
quick.
it was like 2 minutes.
It was
but then
quicker,
Baldur's
yeah.
Gate did an update, and they went, "No, you can't do that anymore." So they said, "So someone's
know-
broke it, and I can do it in 4 minutes now."
I know, like, we talked about this when I talked about GDQ a while ago, and I know, like, you don't particularly vibe with speedruns, but, like, the Baldur's Gate 3 speedrun from GDQ, it's about 30 minutes long, and it is incredible. The things that happen in that speed run, like you get, and that's not like the Act 2 ending where it's like, yeah, you can technically finish the game in Act 2.
Yeah.
Like it's an all act speed run, and like you do some wild shit. It's definitely worth a watch. It's very entertaining. But yeah, no, the
latest
speed
patch.
runners.
Yeah, the latest patch apparently improved the smooching. And you can get a whole lot of better smooching in this game now. So yeah,
this is why when me and Moody reviewed the game last year, when I reviewed the game and Moody was there, I said this is a game that's amazing. It's one of my favorite RPGs, but wait for the definitive edition.
yeah.
I'm waiting for that's before I get it.
Yeah, do
I'm
it.
waiting for the 150 quid definitive edition that I will most definitely probably
It was
not buy.
it was my game of the year in 2023, and my advice was just hold your horses on it, because you're gonna get a better game than I got.
Yeah, like everyone's beta testing it right
even
now. So it's all good.
Even Vit's got a better game than I got, because he got the epilogues. I didn't get those. But anyway,
sorry. So thankfully, I was in a position where if I was playing a dwarf character and you were in a romance scene with someone who was of a normal humanoid height, that when they kissed, they wouldn't just be kissing thin air at each other. They fixed that at that point. Exactly.
This time it's time for OpenCritic Head-To-Head. This is the game we play every week where we try to guess the OpenCritic average of upcoming games. For the last few weeks, we've been guessing mostly live service games, waiting for those reviews to drop, and those reviews all dropped this week, along with Mario vs. Donkey Kong. I'm sure Moody will have some things to say about that when we get to it. But first, we tried to guess the OpenCritic average for Helldivers 3. I guessed it. No, Vitz guessed it. We get a 78. Helldivers 2.
Yes.
Vitz guessed it. We get a
The
78.
third one already?
Moody guessed it. We get an 82. Amy guessed it. We get a 77. At the time of recording, Helldivers 2 has an OpenCritic average of 83, which means Moody gets 1 point. Next up, we try to guess the OpenCritic average of Form Stars. Friendships formed in Form, the official subtitle of the game. Don't look it up, just trust us. Vitz guessed it, we get a 77. Moody guessed it, we get a 75. I guessed it, we get a 70. At the time of recording, Form Stars, Friendships formed in Form has an OpenCritic average of 62, which means Amy gets 1 point.
GG's, Amy. The oof was at that score.
Yeah. From what I've heard, it's not even that bad a game. It's just not particularly amazing, and also it's
kind of what I'm hoping to see for Skull and Bones, because I've counterpicked that. Give me that loveliness.
Yeah, you know what? When the reviews drop for Skull and Bones, we'll talk, because I got some shit to say about Skull and Bones, even though I haven't played it, and I'm not going to play it, and it's not an opinion about the game, it's an opinion about the game's design. I know what I mean. Trust me, it makes sense.
That's all they should know what you mean, 'cause I don't know what you mean now.
I mostly know what I mean. We also tried to guess the OpenCritic average for Banishers, Ghosts of New Eden. Vitz, you guessed it, we got a 78. Moody, you guessed it, we got an 81. I guessed it, we got a 75 at the time of recording. Banishers, Ghosts of New Eden has an OpenCritic average of 81, which means Moody gets 2 points, the first 2-pointer of the year.
Don't mess with Dotnod, people. They know how to do games.
Lastly, we tried to guess the OpenCritic average of Mario versus Donkey Kong. Vitz guessed it would get an 83. Moody guessed it would get an 88. I guessed it would get an 80. At the time of recording, so close. It has an OpenCritic average of 79, which means Amy gets a point. The scores on the doors after all of that so far this year: Amy 3, Moody 3, Vit 0, 1 draw. Remember how worried we were about Vitz getting all those points last year?
I tried to warn you, but you wouldn't listen.
Him? Why are you teasing him?
I want him
he's
to
gonna be. He's gonna have tied by the end of next week. Probably if you're gonna tease him.
He could. It's possible.
Come back to us now.
I was waiting for the break-in while I was doing the Mario versus Donkey Kong thing because you were particularly upset about Mario versus Donkey Kong.
I'm over it. The marks filled me. That's all I know.
Cool. Fair enough. This week we're going to try and guess the OpenCritic average of 2 games. One of them doesn't come out next week, but I want to get ahead of it in case we get some early reviews dropping for it. But the first one is coming out next week. It is Pacific Drive.
Okay, a lot of hype around this one. A lot of hype. I would like to go with an 82, please.
Fitz has got 82. Moody, Pacific Drive.
This could literally go anywhere.
It could. It's very fun.
It really could go fucking anywhere, this game.
Probably down the Pacific route.
79.
79. All right. Every single fucking game we have tried to pick for this year, I've been the voice of negativity. I've been giving it the low scores. It's a strategy that's been working for me, I gotta say. I'm enjoying first.
So 88's never failed, huh?
I've technically guessed the most games correct. But not this week, dickheads. And not just because this is in my fantasy critic team, although it's definitely playing a part in me wanting to try and get this score up a bit. I'm just saying, any game reviewers out there want to give this game a 10 out of 10, do it. Just do it.
Oh, she said it again.
Do it for me. 85. There's a lot
I don't think that's a bad chat. I don't think that's a bad chat.
There's a lot of positive previews for the game. That's basically what I'm basing it off. But it's time for the main event. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. The game that Vitz did not pick in Fantasy Critic. Will this come back to haunt him by the end of the year? Who knows?
Especially if the game he picks
Especially if Metaphor doesn't come out.
Yeah, that's a good point. There's plenty of scope here for egg on my face. I would like to go in with a very strong 92, please.
Okay. We've got a 92 popping off on the board. Moody. We've been in this situation so many times. Legend of Zelda. We know it's going to be up there, but how far up there do you think it's going to be?
They are coming out with a patch on the 21st to improve the performance mode of the demo and subsequently the final game.
Yeah.
Someone I talked to hadn't seen the state of play, and I sent him the link. And then I saw him a little bit later afterwards watching it, and he was just like, "What did you do to me?" I'm even more excited.
That's it.
So the remake got an 88.
Sure did. Everything got an 88 that year.
Yeah, it did. I think 88 was the name of the game last year, that year. It all ultimately depends on how big this game is and how much they're doing of the game.
The game will end. Take this for whatever it's worth, because they can do things in any order they want. The game will
I think I
end
know where it's going to end.
At the end of Disc 1, which is the big...
that's the big thing. That's what I think it's going to be either as well.
Audio listeners, I just took my headphones out because in case there's any spoilers.
There weren't.
Yeah,
okay.
There was not. There were not.
Only if you've played the first game.
Okay, right.
Yeah. My knowledge, previews have been pretty well received.
The demo seems to be going down quite well as well. And that's the least interesting part of the game. It's a fucking flashback.
It's an awesome flashback.
In the original game, it's a 30-minute flashback. You fucking hammer X on for fucking 30 minutes trying to get through so you can play the rest of the game.
I need to send you a short that Gina Darling did on her podcast show Bobas with with Oliver May, and it's amazing. So I've never, Seth Ross is someone who attracts the thirsty kind. I will say,
Sure.
I've never seen a thirsty take quite like this. To share it with you.
People thirst over that, man. There's no doubt
Oh,
about
yeah,
that.
but this takes it to whole new levels.
Fuck it.
Get to be his buddy for a bit.
93.
93. Is that it? 93.
I thought you were like 96.
100!
Hey, Moody. Come here. You remember the Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild 2? Tears, also known as Tears of the Kingdom.
Breath of the Wild 2.
When we did an OpenCritic Head-To-Head, and you were like, "Oh, I'm gonna go 96," and I slammed my fist down on the table, and I said 97. It was the stupidest play I could have made, because I was
Wasn't
like,
it The Last of Us 2 when you did that?
I did that. I think I did it twice.
Yeah, okay. Just making sure of that, yeah.
And I slammed my fist down on the table, and I made the dumb play. I went with my heart, 97. I should have gone 95. Statistically speaking, there's a lot more numbers on that side than there is on the other side. But it's worked for me before. I'm going to go for it again. 9 and a 7 makes a 97.
You're going for the best, for it to be one of the best highly rated games
Game
of all
of the
time.
year, baby.
Wow. 93 could be game of the year. 92 would say it's a game of the year. Let's just be frank here. You're going game of the fucking generation here.
Let's not go that far. We've had some good games.
Yeah, that's already been gobbled up by Baldur's Gate.
Baldur's Gate, Tears, we've had some good games this generation. So I don't know if I go that far, but yeah, that's where I'm going. Fight me.
Go for it. Yeah, go for it. The funny thing is, I think this game is going to rate really highly. There's no doubt. I'd truly be very surprised. But what I think is going to also happen is that the score's going to land on all three of us at one time.
Yeah.
It's going to be at 97.
It's going to start at me,
go to
and
93.
then it's going to slide down. The story behind that for you, Vitz, was Breath of the Wild, and Moody was like, it's going to get a 96. And I literally just went, 97, and it was a 97.
When it all shook
Same
out.
for Last of Us. And she almost had it for The Last of Us. And then it went down.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to take the big play.
That's it.
Dancing in the end zone. I got to showball a little bit. Because then when I lose, I can at least say, I went for the big swings and lost. So my fantasy critic strategy.
Hey, it almost worked.
Yeah. No kidding. That's going to do it for episode 390 of the Words About Games podcast.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a fun one. It's been a fun one.
Hell yeah.
All of my equipment is still in one piece after talking about the Xbox showcase.
There you go.
Business update. So I think that I call that a successful podcast.
I'm just glad that your Xbox light turned back on again.
Imagine if it didn't. Like it was broke. It's like, oh no, the pins were horribly wrong.
Just there banging on the top of it trying to get to
just looking at the camera like I think Xbox might actually be dead. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Come back to us, Xbox.
Come
back.
I look forward to talking about whatever we didn't talk about next week. I'm just really happy we finally got to do the Like a Dragon review. I've been looking forward to it since before the game came out.
Yeah, it was a great review, even though I wasn't here for half it.
I covered for you. It's fine.
Good. Yeah,
we had a great conversation.
Good. Yeah, it's a great game. Go check it out, people, and we'll look forward to coming back next week on a regular time, normal day.
Shit, it's Friday. Thank you for the reminder.
Yes.
I told you 2 hours ago I was going to need reminding.
I was reminding people.
It's that time of the day when lizard brain is active.
Moody, close us out with some words of something. I don't know, wisdom, positivity, hate, whatever you want.
All right, peeps. You want to know one thing? It's just a matter of a fact. You are fucking awesome, and don't let anyone tell you you are not. because you deserve to be here, and we're all here to help you anytime, any day. Be awesome. Have an awesome weekend. Peace out. It's video game day. Celebrate video games.
Woo!
Thank you for beta testing all those games, Microsoft.
Fans.